Hey, this is Justin Hyer with LongRangeOnly.com. Today we're going to take a look at the Spartan Javelin Bipod. Here you can see the contents inside this Spartan Bipod case. It's a good plastic case with some foam that's got all the cutouts for every individual piece. It's a really nice way to make sure your bipod arrives safely through shipping. You can see here it has the actual bipod itself. It's got a couple of screws right here, an Allen wrench, and then an adapter. And we'll go ahead and take a look at the different adapter options available to go ahead and get this bipod on your rifle. Javelin bipod is designed to be easy to mount to your rifle. It comes with a swivel stud adapter mount, which is what you see pictured here. You're able to simply remove your swivel stud and replace it with this screw. It runs through the adapter, and then you use one of the provided rubber spacers that fits your fore-end best, and you simply screw that onto the gun, and that will allow you to easily mount the bipod. You're also able to purchase these Picatinny rail adapters. Super easy to use, just has a little Torx head, clamps right onto your rail. And you can go ahead and see both of these options mounted up here on my rifle. The swivel stud mount is on my muzzleloader that I carried throughout the backcountry this year on a 3 or 4 day backpack hunt. And the Picatinny rail is on my 6.5 Creedmoor that I used on the rifle deer hunt, hauled it around a few days as well. They both worked excellent. We're going to go ahead and run through some features on this Javelin bipod. First and foremost is the way it mounts. It's a magnetic attachment. It makes it super quick to throw it on and off of your rifle. Here we have a Pic Rail Adapter that I'm going to use to show you how it functions. Essentially, this is able to just click right in. Now, depending on which direction you put, you can see here, if I mount it this way, there's the option to pan a fairly good amount of degrees in both directions. If you rotate the bipod 180 degrees and remount it, it's now rigid and won't move. So depending on what your application is, you can flip that bipod, or in this case, you could even flip the mount on your rifle depending on what your preference is, and go ahead and get your bipod in the orientation you like with or without pan. Another feature that the Javelin offers is a lockout. They come with this little tri-lobed wing nut. This doesn't allow you to lock the bipod out very solid. It doesn't have a big enough lever arm to really get it tight, but it works well enough for me. As you can see in the picture here, this was shot on a freezing cold day. I just laid down at 100 yards with my 6.5 and fired off these 5 shots. This barrel's just about shot out. That's about all the better this load is probably capable of anymore. So the Javelin certainly didn't hold me back, although I did have to focus a little bit more to make sure that my bipod stayed straight. They do offer a pod lock design that you can buy, and I've talked to a few other guys that use those, and they say they lock up really solid and you won't have to worry about the cant feature. And you can see that here. The bipod is able to cant. You lock that out and it doesn't. By the time you put a rifle on with this wing nut, you can certainly get it to move, but with the pod lock it will lock up solid. Keeping with the magnetic theme, the bipod is actually stored in this position in your backpack or on your belt, wherever you want to put it, and it's magnetically activated. So when it sits in this closed position, there's 2 magnets here holding the legs together, and as you flip it open, you can see the magnets popped it into place there. Pretty slick little design to allow you to collapse and extend the bipod quickly. To extend the legs, they're twist lock design, similar to what you see with a lot of tripods. You simply twist the leg till it loosens, pull it out, and then tighten it up, and it will lock up really tight as long as the mechanism inside there is clean, and we'll show that a little bit later. But it's super easy, even behind the rifle, to just grab, twist, tighten up. Those of you that are used to running a Harris, it's not quite that fast, but with a little practice, you can make that extension happen really quick, lock it out, and you're good to go. These feet, let's lock it out there. There are rubber caps that you can see here. You can pop the cap off and it exposes a nice little metal spike foot so that you can get a really good dig into the dirt. As far as I know, all of their different legs come with this option. Super nice feature to include within the bipod. There are a few different leg length options available for this bipod. This is the long configuration, and it is approximately 8 to 12 inches when you use it, as you can see in these two photos. They also sent me some long legs that allow it to be used as a sitting bipod. And as you can see in these photos, that runs anywhere from 19 to 23 inches of available height. Here I have the bipod in the fully extended position. As you can see, I'm 6 feet tall and it's about the perfect height to take a sitting shot. If you need a little additional height, you can simply squeeze the legs together and use the cant feature to level your rifle back up. Works really easy to gain, a couple 2 or 3 extra inches. It may help you out on some of those shots where you don't have quite enough height. Swapping out the bipod legs in the field is pretty straightforward. You simply go ahead and loosen the leg and remove this collar. One complaint I have is this collar is a pretty fine thread. Takes a little bit to get undone, but it's not horribly long. Then you go ahead and pull the leg out. Now if I was swapping legs, I need to make sure this red collar is removed as well. It's just a little split clamp. On video I'm struggling to get it in a timely manner, but it goes ahead and comes off. You'd pull the collar off, you put the collar back on the new leg you want, and then if you look inside this red split ring, it's not going to show up on the video, but there is a little boss on one side on the inner diameter. You need to make sure that's facing into the bipod, and that'll go ahead and clip into place right there. If you don't mount that correctly, the leg will fall out if you extend it all the way, and if that happens, you just know to hurry and flip that back around, and you're back in business. To remount the legs, you simply slide everything on, go ahead and tighten the collar up snug, and your bipod is functioning. And you do a little check and make sure if the legs stop, you got that split ring mounted correctly. If you didn't, go ahead and flip it 180 and redo it. Now, one thing you may notice is you swap legs, I would tighten and tighten and tighten and tighten, and I could never get it to actually lock up. And that was twofold. One, let's pull this back apart and show you. That could be caused by two things. One would be if this isn't adjusted correctly. As you go ahead and tighten those legs, that just moves this piece up and down. As you can see there, to loosen and tighten, it just expands. So if your legs aren't quite gripping, go ahead and just spin that down a little, let it start to expand. If it won't fit back in the bipod, back it off just a little bit more until it does. Probably got a little too tight there. Right, now it locks back up. The only other issue with that, as I was tracking around in the field, this would get covered in dust. When I would go to swap the legs in, they wouldn't quite lock up right, even after I had adjusted the initial tension properly. All I'd have to do is hurry and wipe them off with my shirt, but it's something if you were forgetting what you were doing and were trying to get those legs locked out quick, it may not work. That's just something to be mindful of. But as you can see, super quick. You're probably less than 2 minutes total to go ahead and swap out both legs, especially with a little practice. After a full season of hunting with this bipod, it's a sweet little product. It's never going to replace your heavy-duty bipods for precision work, but if you're the kind of guy who debates taking your bipod into the backcountry because it weighs too much, this is definitely going to fit that bill. For under 10 ounces, you get both short and long leg options. Pretty much will fit any scenario, most scenarios that you're going to find yourself in for a hunting situation. I did find one day in the snow, I got a little snow down in the adapter, and it was a little difficult to get the bipod to attach, so I'd cleaned it out. So there's some things you need to be aware of. That combined with the leg problem we discussed, where if they're dirty, they may not lock up tight. But overall, it's a great product for the guys looking for a lightweight option in the backcountry. Hopefully you enjoyed the review. If you have any questions or comments, click the link down below. It'll go ahead and take you to the forum thread where you can discuss any additional items. We hope you enjoyed it, and go ahead and follow us on Facebook and Instagram and on the forum at longrangeonly.com.